Well, Knicks up 11 and Karl Anthony Towns taking this one to the rack, getting the hoop and the harm. That's how you get it done. Cat had a slow start in this one, picked it up there in the second half, and here we go. This one under a minute to go, up 8. Karl Anthony Towns again. That seals the deal for the Knicks. He had 4 turnovers in the first half, a slow start offensively, picked it up, finishing with 25 points. Jalen Brunson, he had a monster 19-point first quarter, finishing his night with 28 points. As the Knicks, they take game 1 at home, game 2 set for Monday. And we're now joined by CBS Sports NBA analyst John Gonzalez. And John, if I'm being honest, I realize there's some criticism that was surrounding the Knicks, especially just considering maybe some of those inconsistencies we saw kind of later in the second half of the season. But I want to get your take. You left game 1 after this win over the Hawks feeling what?
If you're the Knicks, you're feeling great about this. I mean, my hesitation about the Knicks was that they didn't play very well against teams that were 500 or better this season. They actually were break even, an even record against those teams. And among the teams that have the seven best odds to win it all, they were last, right? So that kind of I was like, all right, well, the Hawks are a good team. The Hawks, since the All-Star break, had the 4th best record after only the Spurs, the Thunder, and the Celtics. I didn't think this was a great matchup for them. And then what happens tonight? Everybody at MSG came to play tonight. The crowd, the entire team. As you mentioned, Jalen Brunson was excellent from the beginning. I thought the Hawks did a better job guarding him in the second half. But then what happened was it switched, because I was ready to come on here, Kiana, and kill Karl Anthony Towns for being terrible in the first half. He had a monster second half. Once he got aggressive going downhill, that's really when things picked up for him. He goes for 25 points, 10 of 10 from the free throw line. He's so good once he gets to the line, and they have a major size advantage. So that's a problem for the Hawks. And if I'm the Hawks, I'm a little bit worried about those live ball turnovers. The Knicks also won in transition. And then you got a guy like Josh Hart who just does a little bit of everything. You look at it, you're thinking okay, his numbers can't be that good. Then he goes for a double-double with 3 steals, and he really was playing excellent defense on Jalen Johnson. So if I'm the Knicks, that's as good as you could possibly hope for in game 1.
Yeah, you're talking about Jalen Brunson. He certainly gave them that playoff jolt right away. You talked about Karl Anthony Towns picking things up there in the second half. But what impressed you more? Was it the 19-point first quarter for Brunson, or was it the way that maybe New York settled back in after Atlanta? They did punch back there for a good chunk of that first half.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of never surprised when Jalen Brunson gets hot and gets going, and he certainly was in the first half. Again, the Hawks did a better job in the second half. What impressed me most, and Stan Van Gundy called this out on the broadcast, and I thought he was absolutely right, was the Knicks defense, because they really limited the Hawks. And all of a sudden in that second half, even though the Hawks went on a run in the fourth quarter, I'm thinking to myself, where's the offense coming from here, right? Because Jalen Johnson has been excellent this season. Nickeil Alexander-Walker did not have a great shooting night. I expect that to improve for him. But CJ McCollum goes for 24 points, and you look up, and the Knicks are still winning that really comfortably. And especially when they go into the fourth quarter, they're now they only have 2 losses all season long when they have a lead going into the fourth quarter. They have the best fourth quarter defense in the NBA and the best fourth quarter point differential. So if that defense keeps playing like this, it was suspect earlier in the season. Then they win the NBA Cup and take a little bit of a dip. And then from there on, the defense has been really excellent. And if that's the kind of defense they're going to play for the rest of these playoffs, they might be onto something, Kiana.
Okay, it'll be something worth seeing. But on the other end of this matchup, I mean, the Hawks, they will get a day's rest, but they're right back at the Garden on Monday for game 2. Let's say we're looking at this Knicks defense, but how can the Hawks even things up? And that's before taking the series to Atlanta if, say, the Knicks do continue to play the way they are.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things here that they need to address. And I thought that the Knicks would come out gangbusters in game 1 with the energy in Madison Square Garden and the crowd and the fans bing-bonging all over the place, right? So I thought it would be difficult for them. I do think, though, that this is going to be a good series because the Hawks are a good team. Now, what do they need to do? Well, for one, they need to control those live ball turnovers. That killed them tonight. And the other thing is they really want to play at a quicker pace, and they want to be the team that wins in transition and on the fast break. That wasn't the case tonight. The Knicks won in transition, and the Knicks won on the fast break. So they got to really change that because they have a size disadvantage, especially in the front court where Onyeka Okongwu is a really good player, and I like him at center. He's got a big, long wingspan, but they have an obvious size disadvantage with Karl Anthony Towns and also Mitchell Robinson. So they got to play quick. They got to get their shots to fall, and they've got to really control those turnovers, and then they'll have a chance. But, they're on the road to start these two games. It doesn't surprise me that the Knicks got out to a hot start, but the Hawks have to be better in game 2 for sure.
Absolutely. Nonetheless, it was a tough crowd there at Madison Square Garden. We'll look to bounce back on Monday for game 2 of this series. And hey, an opportunity to tie this series up because like you mentioned, it's still a good Hawks team. As always, John Gonzalez bringing the best. We appreciate you. Hey, speaking of bringing the best, take a look at the most points in a playoff quarter in the Knicks play-by-play era history. Jalen Brunson, 19 points just in the first quarter alone of this game, getting the Knicks off to a hot start. Hey, he had another outing. It was his 21-point quarter.
Tonight, we're in for a treat as LeBron James and Kevin Durant will meet for the 4th time in the NBA playoffs as Game 1 between the Rockets and Lakers tips off at 8:30 Eastern from LA. KD does have the edge, winning the last 2 meetings against LeBron in the postseason, as you see here. We'll find out soon enough how this series ends. Important to note, KD is dealing with a knee injury, but is questionable. Team does remain optimistic. We'll find out soon enough if he is good to go. For much more on what to expect, though, let's go ahead and welcome back John Gonzalez. John, I do want to begin with the biggest news surrounding Lakers stars Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves. Both will miss Game 1 tonight against the Rockets. You know, this depth will be tested heavily for LA. What will it take for them to get it done tonight?
Tonight is one thing. This series is another one. I mean, the Lakers could steal a game or two here, but you're asking so much out of LeBron James because you mentioned the depth. That team, Jordan, was painfully thin before this. And, they were sort of overcoming it because when you have a first 3 of Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and LeBron James, you're pretty good. You're in solid position. And they were playing really good basketball up until, say, the penultimate week of the season when they go into that Oklahoma City game and they're thinking, okay, we can make a statement. And then not only do they get absolutely throttled by the Thunder, but then they lose Luka to a hamstring injury and Austin Reeves to an oblique. And not only are they not available for Game 1, I would be very surprised if either of them are available for this series full stop, at which point that depth becomes a major issue because LeBron, look, he can only do so much. He had an incredible season even at 41. He's going to be fine. I'm not worried about him. Beyond him, though, you're looking at who's your next best player in this series if you're the Lakers. DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia. I mean, they needed Luke Kennard last week to go for his first ever triple-double against the Mavericks, and they still lost to Dallas, who's tanking. So I just have a hard time believing that the Lakers are going to be able to figure this thing out against a Rockets team where even with KD having that knee issue, they still have way more options.
Let's go ahead and talk about that knee issue that we mentioned earlier. What insight at all can you give us, John, on this?
Yeah, he was a late add to the injury report. It was sort of surprising. Everybody looked around and went, wait a minute, when did that happen? So as you mentioned, the Rockets are optimistic that he's going to play in this one. I'd be surprised if he doesn't play. And unlike LeBron James, he has plenty of help, right? So KD is the guy that they go to late in games. He's the guy who does the heavy lifting. They got him for a reason, to be their closer and their 1A star. But he has a lot more help around him than, say, LeBron James does now without Luka and Austin Reeves. I mean, he can rely on an Alperen Şengün, who is an all-star. He can rely on an Amin Thompson, who, while Amin Thompson does not shoot the ball well, he does everything else on a basketball court that you could possibly want, up to and including playing lockdown defense. Last year, he was second-team all-defense. And then you had the emergence of Reed Shepherd, who, along with KD, is like the Rockets' lone reliable outside shooter. So if KD can go, or if he can go and he's sort of, hobbled, they still have other options.
So right now, because of all the injuries for LA, so many people are saying Houston should handle business on the road here. They are favored entering this game at 5. Give us a game pick here.
Yeah, in this game, I'll take the Rockets in this game. I mean, look, the Lakers are just really limited. I have the Rockets winning this series in 5. I think LeBron being LeBron, he's going to have a vintage performance at some point, and I'll give them a game in this series. It would have been completely different if Luka and Austin Reeves were there. Then all of a sudden, I think it's super close, and it could have been anybody's series. But the Rockets just have too many options, and they're a really good defensive team as opposed to the Lakers, who are a putrid defensive team even when they're at full strength. So I think the Rockets being top 10 in both offense and defense, and the Lakers just really relying heavily on that offense and those first 3 guys, but now being limited to just LeBron, it's going to be really difficult. So I'll take the Rockets tonight and in the series.
All right, let's end with the Knicks hosting the Hawks tonight, where they enter as 6-point favorites. What's it going to take for New York to defend home court tonight?
Yeah, this game is one thing. The series is another. I have the Knicks in the series. I have them winning in 7 games, but this one makes me a little nervous. If I was a Knicks fan, I'd be a little worried about this because a 3-6 matchup, the Knicks did not want to see the Hawks. They much would have rather preferred to play the Raptors in the first round, a team that they've beaten all 5 times this season. The Hawks, however, are one of the hottest teams, Jordan, since the All-Star break. They have the 4th best record behind only the Spurs, the Thunder, and the Celtics. That's really good company, right? And their defense has been incredible. They've had the 2nd best defensive rating since the All-Star break. Only the Thunder have been better. So what does it take for the Knicks? Well, the Knicks obviously need Jalen Brunson to get off to a hot start and Karl-Anthony Towns as well. Both of those guys need to really carry the offensive load. The key for the Knicks, though, is that those 2 guys have to give some more effort defensively. Now, the Knicks have raised their level on defense over the second half of the season. That's a positive. But last year, you'll remember in the postseason, Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns got absolutely hunted to the point where then Coach Tom Thibodeau had to stagger those guys because they were absolutely getting murdered when they were on the floor together. So I'm interested to see what kind of defensive effort those 2 guys give, not only individually, but especially when they're on the floor together.
So you said if you're a Knicks fan, you may be a little nervous in this one. So are you going with Atlanta in game 1?
No, I'll take the Knicks in game 1. It's game 1 at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks fans are crazy and always behind them. You know that there's going to be a lot of energy in the building. I'm just saying over the course of the series, the Hawks, casual NBA fans might not know this, but that is a good team. Jalen Johnson is probably going to make All-NBA. He was already an All-Star. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has leveled up from a guy who was just a rotation player, and a good one, off the bench for Minnesota, to a guy who is a plus-level starter in Atlanta. And Onyeka Okongwu, not a household name. He's been really good. Dyson Daniels, all defensive caliber. All I'm saying is the Knicks have their work cut out for them. I'll still take them tonight and in the series, but don't be surprised if the Hawks make them work.
Let it be known, John Gonzalez, a safe bet there, my friend, in game 1. Always great to see you here live on CBS Sports HQ, breaking down tonight's NBA playoff games that we get to look forward to at 6 o'clock Eastern time. We will see that game between the Hawks and Knicks from Madison Square Garden before our nightcap, 8:30 Eastern from LA, as the Lakers host the Rockets.